Modern life can be tiring. Rushing around, it just never ends. The rain, commuting and traffic jams, going to work, doing the shopping, zombies, washing, ironing, hoovering, washing up and gardening. So why do we do it? What are we gonna do?
What are we gonna do?
Road trip.
Just a short trip this time, leaving Hull for Rotterdam, then on to Troyes, then Lyon down to Saint-Mandrieu, which is near Toulon on the French Riviera. This time we're not travelling on our own. There's a V-Strom 1000 ridden by Averill and Brian. Here's our GS Adventure. This is Rachel and me, Steve. We got straight on the ferry, but were packed in really tightly. Soon sailing away with only time for a selfie and a beer. We were quickly off, and it must be Holland. There's a windmill! Out of Holland and into France, where we came across the Arc de Triomphe. Not the Paris one, this one in Port Saint Croix was built 66 years earlier by Nicolas Durand. Our first stop was Troyes, confirming that we were definitely in France, with French poodles and wine on the water bottle wraps of people's bikes. Troyes is one of the best places in France to get an idea of what Europe looked like when Shakespeare was alive. Medieval Renaissance houses built so close they'd touch at some points. The ride down to Lyon was fantastic. Once we got clear of the early morning grape pickers, it was all empty roads. We stopped for coffees and food at some of the small villages and watched them processing the grapes. I don't know where we were, but it was 940 kilometres from Stevenage. Lyon is a great city, starting with the parking garage hidden under the square in front of the theatre, to the old town, the bouchons serving local food, and the traboule, passages that cross under the streets, through apartment blocks and into courtyards, all open to the public if you can find them. They were used by silk weavers in the 1800s to move silk in bad weather, also by the resistance in World War II. Because we didn't have a lot of time on this trip, the ride from Lyon kept us on the motorway. So it was lots of this, some of this, and lots of this.
I didn't wander in the woods, used to fear the darkness.
We got it out of the way and soon arrived at our caravan, costing a grand total of €100 for 3 days. Now we could eat, drink and chill out. No, that isn't cooking oil. It's wine you could buy locally, by the litre, put into old water bottles to bring yourself.
I have no fear of heights, no fear of the deep.
The second half of the ride takes us from Saint-Mandrier to Barcelonnette, Annecy to Belfort, then Luxembourg on to Amsterdam, Nijmegen for the ferry back. After a couple of days recharging our batteries, we were off to Barcelonnette at the base of the Alps. But first we had to pass through the Verdun Gorge, which is known as the Grand Canyon of Europe. The red rock of the Gorge de Dalwy. This is a balcony road. Balcony roads are ones carved into the cliff face and are often narrow with loads of tunnels, but their views are amazing. Just before settling in for the evening, there was time for a run up to the Cime de la Bonnette. At 9,193 feet, it's the highest paved public road in Europe that isn't a dead end. We were up early, got sandwiches and were ready to start for the grand route of the Alps. First off was Col d'Izoard at around 7,750 feet, then on to the Col de Galibier, about 8,650 feet. Both of these are used in the Tour de France.
Drinking in the morning sun, blinking in the morning sun, shaking off the heavy one, yeah, heavy like a load.
It's easy to get distracted with all this great scenery, but the roads are tight and the cars can seem to appear from nowhere.
Never say, I can only think it must be love. Oh, anyway.
So when we came up behind a car which we passed at what I thought was a good pace, I was surprised we passed by two bikes going into the tunnel.
Tell me how I feel. It's silly, wrong, but vivid right.
On the other side was a lorry and it could have been nasty.
Yeah, kiss me like we died tonight. 'Cause holy cow, I love your eyes.
Just over the top of the Col d'Izoard is the Refuge Napoleon, a great place for a coffee stop and take in the views.
Oh, anyway, it's looking like a when my face is chamois creased. If you
Just round this corner brought home the need to be alert. A tight blind bend, a car at the worst point, and we touched. No damage to the bike at all, but his wing had a bit of a thump. We were on the outside of the corner, and this shows the drop. The guy was great, gave us no hassle, so it was on to the Col de Galibier.
'cause holy cow, I love your eyes. And only now I see the light. Yeah, lying with you half away, stumbling over what to say. Well, anyway, it's looking like a beautiful day. So throw those curtains wide. One day like this a year, it's singing right. Throw those curtains wide. One day like this a year, it's singing right. Throw those curtains wide.
I could put on hours of footage on here, but you can't show how breathtaking these views really are. These are the roads you should be riding, at least once.
Curtains wide. One day like this a year, it's singing right for life. Falling down, I love your eyes. And only now I see the light. Falling down, I love your eyes. And only
got parked right outside the hotel, which was right in the old town. I came out after getting changed to find this parking ticket. Annecy is another one of those must-visit places. Around the lake is fantastic with great food and lots going on, and it's even more beautiful at night. And the burgers weren't bad either, so we tried to walk it off on the way back to the hotel. After leaving Annecy and the Alps, we rode into the Franche-Comté region and towards Belfort, and the scenery changed again with the roads winding through forests. Our hotel was quite upmarket, but not expensive and had private parking. Belfort is a fortified town developed by the architect Vauban due to its strategic position on the river. The main site is the Line of Belfort, a sculpture celebrating the town's resistance in the Franco-Prussian War. The 11-metre tall sculpture was done by Frederick Bartholdi, who shortly afterwards built the Statue of Liberty. Riding to Luxembourg, the mist came in fast and got thicker and thicker. Then cleared to allow the rain through. Coffees and fresh socks got us back on the road. We rode into a rainy Luxembourg and were just going into the parking garage when the attendant said, "Don't pay for parking, put it on the pavement in between the lanes." So we did. We got in our room overlooking the town hall and the rain stopped, so we had a wander around the town. On the evening, out for a couple of drinks, the band in the square were playing a favourite song. We were in Luxembourg in 2011, and while we were in the Mexican restaurant, this happened. 4 years later, we were in the same restaurant. The rain had stopped for our ride to the ferry until just as we were told we could board, So we sat there waiting in the pouring rain. This made for a precarious ride on. Wet tyres and painted metal are not a good mix. But we were safely on as the weather got worse. So all we could do was eat and drink. And know we were in safe hands as Avro stayed up to sail the ferry home. Coming off at Newcastle saw more rain, Tropical Storm Henry to be exact. But the wet finish didn't spoil the trip, and we'll hopefully be away again soon.